when I came out and I started living the way I really was and started being open about who I really liked and who I really am, the effects on your well-being and your mental health and just your character is massive, you know? Taking the mask off, so to speak, is hard, but underneath you realize that there's nothing wrong with you, and almost no one around you thinks there is either.
I think it gets better, it gets easier the older you are and the more comfortable you are with your identity. Like maybe if you're in year 9 or 10, you might be terrified of like your sexuality or finding out you're gender diverse. But the more you're comfortable with, the more time goes on, the more comfortable you are with your identity, the more comfortable people around you are with this. Maybe you're the first LGBT person they've ever met.
Yeah, I think a big thing about that's quite comforting in a weird way is that people get bored.
Yeah.
So after a while, they're probably gonna forget. Like when I first came out, I cut my hair and everything. Everyone was like, I bet you're trying to get a girl. You look like a boy now. And it's like, thank you.
Yeah, that's...
Don't listen to what other human beings are saying to you if it's negative.
Don't be so sad or oh, I'm not good enough. Because when you start breaking out of that tiny shell, everything happens and it's so good. If you just open up, crack that shell and be positive, that's the main thing, then you can accomplish basically anything.
I remember in like year 7 and 8 when I was still like figuring things out, and I was like, I'm never telling anyone until I like leave home until I'm like 25. And it's weird to think about that, who I was then and who I am now, and
the growth,
there's
such rapid growth that happens between those times when you're questioning yourself and then when you're comfortable with yourself. Yeah.
So once you get into, if you choose to do medical transition, once you get into like starting to medically transition, everything won't go as quickly as you want it to, but you have to keep in mind that you will get to the point where you want to be one day.
You're gonna get there, but it takes time.
Yeah.
I've thrown around lots of labels, like thinking that I've been bi or asexual or straight, pansexual. Like I've thrown a lot around and like...
Because you have to go through all those phases and stuff to find out which one suits you the best.
Yeah. And like, just for people to understand that it's okay to like think, like to juggle around a few different labels to find what you're comfortable in, or like, I don't know, just be confident in who you are. Like it may take a while, but you'll figure it out in the long run, I guess.
For like LGBTI people, you can always change labels. You don't need to always have one that's going to fit, and your first one might not fit. And it's always okay to go, you know what, this label that I've been using for 2 years now doesn't resonate with me, but there's this other one that really fits. Like, you don't need to have one label and stick with it for the rest of your life. Just know that changing labels doesn't make you a bad LGBTI person.
My biggest advice would be to be yourself and that you're not alone, because there are so many people that are going through similar journeys to you. And I think that whatever social pressures you might have, if your parents are not supportive, if your family's not supportive, if your school isn't supportive, all you can do to defy that and to really step back and you go, you know what, around my friends, I'm going to be who I am. You know, just live your life as your true authentic self and live it to the fullest.
Definitely.
2 or 3 years ago, I would not have like imagined myself like being an advocate, doing this, like, but now I am, and like I feel like I'm helping other people, and you know, that I feel like that's what I'm meant to do, and like I want to be there for people that can't like speak for themselves.
You're like in your head you think that everyone's like, that nobody's going to accept you at all, but that's false.
Yeah.
Like people will accept you for who you are, and people will love you for who you are.
Yep. And like there's so many people that probably feel the same way. So if you find those people, just accept each other.
Exactly.
Love each other.
Love each other, love everyone.
Love
wins.
True.